Hey beautifuls, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kahoso, but some call me Kahonina with the cuteness Motswako Minaj. And this is
Buhle and I from Queer X Talks.
And together, Sobabili times 2. We're the baddest in the school, the baddest in the game, the baddest with the bars in our own lanes. And this, oh darling, this is Queer Talks. Now today we've got a lot to unpack, and if you've been following this series, then you know we've already unpacked a lot. We've spoken about identity, we've spoken about preferences, and what else did we speak about?
In episode 2 we spoke about navigating spaces as a queer person. We spoke about coming out. We spoke about allyship.
And then today we want to get deeper. We want to get personal.
Go deeper.
We've got a lot to talk about, and if you read the title of today's video, you know it's a very not uncomfortable conversation, but tough one.
It's not comfortable though.
It's not comfortable either. It's a necessary one. Today we want to talk about dating. We want to talk about consent. We want to talk about pedophilia. We want to talk about linyalo. But we want to put them in a different order because there's a lot of foundation work that needs to be said. So let's start here. What is consent?
Consent, in layman's terms, is Kaho.
Yes.
Do you want to do this with me?
Yes.
Do I want to do this with you? Yes. But you see, that's because we're equals.
Yes.
The same age.
Same power dynamics.
Same power dynamics. Same, you know?
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
We both agree to do whatever it is that we're doing.
Exactly.
That is consent.
Exactly.
And consent means it needs to be a yes.
Yes.
A yes without any reservation.
Exactly. A yes without being shoved to the yes.
Of course. A yes where is that the word? Unequivocally. There's no coercion. There's no intoxication. There's no unsafe space for you to say no. In fact, anything short of a yes is a no. Right? That is consent.
No.
If it is not a yes, it's a no. And so with that foundation, we want to engage this conversation.
Exactly.
But we want to start it from a very important place. Let's talk about dating. But before we get to dating, let's talk about age. The power dynamics that come with age when it leads to dating. You know where I'm going with this. Let's talk about pedophilia.
Let's talk about pedophilia.
And this community. Let's go.
And I mean, there's a lot we'll touch on. I just want to say, to make it clear, before we even start, pedophilia is very financial. And that's why consent will never be present there. Because I need your money. You understand?
But even if it's not financial.
Sometimes it's not.
And we must get into that as well. But let's start from the beginning. Power dynamics. Right? When you look at dating, we oftentimes tend to date, or the expectation is that we date within certain age groups. Right? We all have our own expectations of our age groups. We all have our own limits and ages. But there is a global morality and a global understanding of certain age groups go together. The same way we did not expect a 60-year-old to be dating an 18-year-old, right? So let's get into it. In that situation, we know that there are certain age limits that are acceptable, and there are some that are not so acceptable in this community.
You see, the thing about this community is there's lines that are usually black and white are very grey in this community.
They're blurred.
Because
go.
It links also to, like we mentioned in previous videos, coming out and
all these things are intersectional.
And some people, of course, do it at later stages. And now when they do it at later stages, they want to experience youth queerness, but they are no longer youth.
Exactly.
So they use the queers that are in their youth to.
We spoke about this in episode 2. We said we spoke about it in episode 1 as well. You do not owe anybody a coming out.
Exactly.
But if you do not come out, then you deny yourself the experience of experiencing queer love at a younger age.
Yes.
And so in episode 2 we said some people navigate a space in such a way that only when they're older the space becomes safer to navigate as a queer body. But like you just said now, when you're older, you're older.
Exactly.
And so unfortunately the time to explore with the youth left with your youth.
Exactly. And you're making it unsafe for them.
You are changing their experience.
Because Ghana, you've just found your safe space.
Exactly.
But you're taking theirs away because in a sense, Nyana, you're taking a part of the youth.
You are taking. That is exactly it.
Because let's keep it a buck.
Let's keep it 8 more than 92.
No matter how mature you may think I am, all the people are boring.
Let us go into that.
So I'm gonna feel like I'm so mature, but you're boring me.
Wangbawara.
Because you're old.
I want us to get into this. There's this statement that says you are mature for your age, right? And we've all heard it, and it's possibly true. You possibly were mature for your age.
Yeah.
But in this community, I think it happens in the world.
Of course.
In this community, that statement is used to manipulate and abuse.
Of course.
Let's talk about it.
But I think it happens in general, you know? But before I go any further, I just want to, I'm not going to name drop.
Oh, hectic.
Just going to situation drop. You know yourself. If you were in matric dating me in grade 8, bruh.
You know yourself.
I'm judging you.
It happens in every community. In all relationships, straight, bi, gay, whatever, queer.
Yeah.
But it's important to talk about it in this community because our pool of dating is smaller.
Of course.
Significantly smaller.
Of course.
Let's go.
And because it seems more acceptable. Because it's not, your usual.
Because it is not your usual type of dynamic and setup of a relationship.
Of pedophilia.
Let's call it what it is. It is more acceptable. And when we were talking about this earlier, just in preparations, we spoke about how expression oftentimes shapes how people judge.
I do.
Exactly.
I do.
We were saying that our different expressions, femininity, masculinity, also shape how people judge our actions.
Yeah.
Right? And how oftentimes pedophilia from femme bodies is excused because it's expected to come from mass bodies.
Yes. And I think pedophilia from masked bodies is often linked with, and I'm not saying it's right, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, unlike with femme bodies, with masked bodies, it's linked with a sort of violence, a sort of abuse, a sort of, more than just an abuse of power, like an abuse, faila, So it's judged more harshly. I'm not saying it shouldn't be judged though.
We're not saying that.
Personally, I think it should all be judged. But live your life.
But live your life, but also beware of the harm and potential harm that you cause to people.
Because I mean, as someone who at a younger age, I didn't spend like my whole youth dating older people, But the few dabbling here and there, I later grew up and realized
this was not right.
Exactly.
And sometimes we grow up thinking, I'm mature for my age. This person loves you, right? And we vibe, we connect, which is all true. All of those things can be true, right? But when they come together, it's a difference in the relationship because of the power dynamics.
Exactly.
And when power dynamics are involved, consent becomes compromised.
Very much so.
We spoke about consent, and we said consent needs to be unequivocal. Is that the word?
Doesn't matter.
Unequivocal.
They don't know.
Exactly. Consent needs to be absolute.
Yes.
It needs to be a yes, right? But when there are power dynamics involved, that yes kind of shifts. Because not only am I probably with you because of the financial reason we mentioned, but it also could be because of a love that I feel like I don't get elsewhere.
And you make me feel seen.
You make me feel loved.
In a way maybe that no one else could.
Exactly.
And I mean, that would sound like a good thing, but it might not be a good thing because maybe that's what you're using to manipulate me.
Exactly. I want us to kind of contextualize and frame this. Yeah. We live in an age where dating is so digital, right? Where dating is so fast. And therefore, a lot of times we miss the experience of being able to establish real, genuine connections with people. And therefore, if somebody comes and says, I know I'm twice your age, but I want to commit to you, knowing very well how small the dating pool is, me as an 18-year-old, you as a 28-year-old, that age gap becomes minimized because of the love that I'm getting from you, that I know my age mates probably won't give me because everybody's here. Everybody is here. They hook up. And even in that, consent needs to be unequivocal.
And I don't think it will be.
It can't be.
And like, maybe I'm wrong, but I genuinely don't think it will be.
With age gaps comes power dynamics.
Exactly.
And with power dynamics can never come equality.
I don't see myself at this age, 20, dating a 30-year-old woman. And
with all the tools you've acquired over the years, you still don't see it possible.
Exactly. And it being a fair relationship.
Exactly. I think what we're saying is we all know that the dating pool in this community is small.
Exactly.
We all know that love in this community is a different experience.
But it shouldn't be used as an excuse for.
It shouldn't be used as an excuse. We're saying people are going to come into your life. People of different ages, people of different backgrounds, people of different expressions. And in those, it's important to know the relationship dynamics, right? And in knowing the relationship dynamics, know when things are possible. Because it is possible and probable to be legal.
Definitely.
Legal in age.
Definitely.
And still be manipulated.
Yes.
And still be in a relationship that is, the dynamics just don't
because
work.
I can legally say yes, it does not mean that I am fully equipped to say yes.
Exactly.
Because I mean, you've spent so many more years on this earth.
Navigating, experiencing, breaking. And it's unfair to expect to live your youth with a youth, right? To live out your denied youth with a new youth, because that shapes and changes their experience.
Exactly, because they're also going to be at that age thinking, damn, maybe I shouldn't have done this like this, wait. And honestly, people don't deserve that.
It affects how people experience love.
Make it a heal.
Everybody. This is the sad thing about it. I think a lot of people in this community can relate. I think it's very sad that maybe not our first sexual encounters, but our first engagements with somebody giving you attention in a queer dynamic was definitely older men. Old women, old men. Undeniably so. I think we all share that experience.
I mean, before I even knew I was queer.
Before I even knew I was queer, there were older men in my spaces.
Hey.
And there's a lot of forgiving that needs to happen. For ourselves
too.
For ourselves. But now, let's make it a bit lighter.
It's okay.
Because this is a very dark conversation. Yeah. And it doesn't end here. There's so much more to talk about. But I want us to put it on a lighter note. Dating. Right? You've got the tools to equip yourself, consent-wise.
Yes.
You know that age dynamics, as much as you might want to date someone older, the power dynamics might not. Yes, the power dynamics come into play, and therefore you should tread carefully. But now we know that, we're equipped with that. Let's talk Njolo. When did you start dating?
I started dating when I was...
Hold on. By dating, there's obviously people have different terms of dating.
Of course.
For some people, dating is talking to people and just going with the vibes.
Of course.
I'm talking about intentional. Because the vibes could be anything. Wherever the wind blows, where you are.
But you see,
I
started dating at 15.
Okay.
It was the vibes, sure, but it was like the vibes with the same person.
The vibes with the same person.
Like even though it wasn't intentional, it was still a consistent thing with one person, you know. But when I started, I need to tread carefully again.
Tread carefully.
Because I was about to say when I started intentionally dating is at 18. But that's when I started if I'm making a move at someone.
Yes.
I'm very intentional
about it.
You know, like I was saying in our discussion, you know, before the video is, I will never slide into someone's DM because, hey, what's up? No.
Yeah,
slide in your DM.
Slide with the intention.
I definitely slide with intention. Hey, hi, I think you're beautiful, whatever. I want to take you on a date. Not let's go. Not let's link. I want to take you on a date.
This is my intention.
Date, time, place.
Exactly.
If I've never done that to you,
if I have never done that, really told me.
Exactly.
We did not talk. We were not vibing.
Exactly.
We were not in a dating situation.
So yeah, so 15 or 18 for me.
15 to 18, roughly around there. Let me bring it to me, right, in my queer experience. I have not dated. But a couple of weeks ago, I went on my first date.
Oh yes.
Clap for me. Clap for the heavyweight champ.
Have you seen the video?
Check it out. A couple of weeks ago, I went on a date. And I must say, it was lovely. Right? But someone might ask, Kaho, at 19, when Buhle started at 16, you are only dating 15. You are only dating at 19. Look here. Do you see what I'm saying? Why wait that long? And for me, it was a thing of, I know everything that we mentioned. I knew those things, right? And so most of the people who came into my life were older than me. And not to say that I didn't want to date a 21-year-old. I mean, who wouldn't want to date a 21-year-old? But at the time, I knew that the relationship is not on equal footing.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't put myself in that. As much as I knew because I just knew that. And you know what? Part of this thing about dating comes with emotional maturity.
Definitely.
And I think from a young age, I was both by design and by forced to be emotionally mature. Right? Because Lord knows, I probably would have been married now. I would have eloped had I just gone, yes. Nina in keys or TV. But yeah, I had to say no. And now that I've kind of built up the tools that I use to navigate my experience, I can use them to navigate dating. In a small pool, right? Yeah. I went on a date, doesn't mean I'm cuffed. Don't get it mistaken.
No.
I'm single. Are you single?
When I take you on a date, it means I'm trying to see where we're gonna go, where we might go,
where we can go.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean hurry.
Don't ever get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted. I'm single. You single, and the DMs are open to me.
Exactly.
And you know what?
Don't slide in my DMs.
Anyway, slide in my DMs, but slide in with Chankura dollars.
Slide in my DMs respectfully.
Slide in my DMs with money.
That's a conversation for another day.
We'll talk about it.
But
when you're dating, I want to know, what are the things you look out for in a queer navigation? So we've spoken about how different expressions shape different navigations.
Yeah.
In a queer relationship for myself, I do not want somebody who is femphobic, because maybe somebody loves you, but will say, oh, that person is too gay. Oh, that person is this. Oh, that thinks this. Oh, what are some of the things you don't want or look for?
I think this also, I must tread lightly when I say this, because I think almost everyone I've dated has actually been this. But I don't think I really want to be with someone who's never been in a relationship with a girl before. Because you're a lot of firsts for someone. You know what I'm saying? I think subconsciously, girls who've only been with guys treat the relationship, not the whole relationship. You know, I really do think they try, but treat parts of the relationship like they're in the relationship with a guy. And I'm not a man too.
I'm not a man too.
So
you don't want to be somebody's first sexual encounter. Not even sexual. You don't want to be someone's first same-sex encounter.
Yeah, like sexual, I'm okay. I'm honestly okay with that. But romantic, because there's a big difference between being in a relationship with a man and being in a relationship with a woman.
Period.
So I do not want to be the first.
Which is okay, right? Because being a lot of people's first also comes with a lot of responsibility and comes with a lot of burden. Let's call it what it is. It's a burden to give people a fair, honest, unproblematic experience, which shouldn't be your duty. Because love must come with what it comes with. Relationships must come with what they come with. But when you're somebody's first, you kind of carry their expectations. Right? Yeah, no, dating is interesting. Dating as a whole is interesting. But when it comes to queer dynamics, just like you said, people must realize that even in our expressions, just because you're masked doesn't make you a man.
Exactly.
And therefore the dynamics of the relationship need to accommodate the people in the relationship. For me, what do I look for? What don't I look for? I look for money.
I get you, Chomi.
Relationships need money.
I get you, Chomi.
You understand that?
Not personally, like maybe I'm wrong, but I don't want to be with someone who's low maintenance. I want to drop racks.
Nah, I want racks dropped on me. Not because I want to be spoiled, but because I can drop racks on somebody I love.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
When I am dating somebody, if we France, we work, we hustle, we make the money to go to France.
Go.
Mara France ki 7 million and then nakina le sekoloto and then okay and le nakina le koloto, but we hustle, right? I want somebody who's, I'm not saying it's like a trust fund, but if only trust fund definitely.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? But I don't want somebody who doesn't know how to hustle.
Yeah.
I also don't want somebody who is afraid. I mean, this obviously comes with comfort, but is afraid to explore their queerness. We've spoken about navigating spaces, coming out, and we've said that push the boundaries of your identity. I don't want somebody who's going to say, when I met you, you dressed this way. Now, Buhle, you want to wear a crop top. What's going on?
Oh, whoa.
You understand? there's no room for me.
I'm not going to allow someone to box me.
Dictate.
That's one thing I will not do.
We can't.
Your
expression and your identity is yours, and if you want me, you take me as I come.
But I think one thing that's also within dating for me, which people I've been in relationships with have had an issue with, is like, I have a problem with public displays of affection.
Ooh.
But it's not about the public display of affection. It's the fact that we're gay
in public.
You know what I'm saying?
And you don't know how safe that space is.
Exactly, like regardless of the space I'm in, even if I'm in Santon.
But I guess
I'm still like,
even that is a journey of learning and unlearning, right? Because our comfort in spaces obviously is dictated by the space.
Yeah.
But as queer bodies, we disrupt spaces all the time.
Exactly.
And so I guess even in our relationships should be disrupting spaces.
Exactly.
But in disrupting spaces, I want us to move into the last segment of today's video. Linyalo. Inkomo. The ring on the finger. Lijolo. Lijolo is the finalization of mjolo. But I made a new word to use it. Lijolo. It's the marriage of mjolo. Talk to me.
Marriage, right?
Marriage of mjolo. It's just marriage.
It's just marriage.
Anyways, let's talk marriage. How do you feel about it?
I'm never intentionally looking for marriage.
Yes.
But when I'm in a relationship,
yes,
I definitely see myself married to that partner.
Because you date with intention.
Exactly. You see me there? I'm not sure if I said it before.
Yes.
But I will never get in with one foot out in a relationship.
Yes.
I get in with my whole body and soul. I don't care.
Yes. And if you get hurt in the process,
exactly, I will cry, I will heal,
period.
And I will do it again.
And that is the point.
And that's why, like,
I will do it again.
Every person that I'm in a relationship with, give me a couple of weeks, I already see myself married to them.
Because we date with intention.
Exactly.
People need to be intentional. Exactly. And we're not saying that marriage is the final destination.
No, sure.
We're saying, because I don't know, I want to talk about this, marriage. I didn't grow up thinking about marriage, right? Not because of representation. Yes, representation is true. I didn't see a lot of it.
Yeah.
But because I didn't experience a lot of queer love in my younger ages.
Yeah.
And so without that experience, I cannot see that finish line
for you,
for myself.
Yeah.
Right? But I've always believed in life partnership. I've always believed somewhere out there, I will find somebody who I'm willing to spend the rest of my life with. Right? And so, linyalo, or lijolo. What do you say?
But now that you say life partnership, I think I'm swaying more towards it, because of course I've always imagined marriage whilst I was in a relationship with someone. But I've never actually thought I was gonna go home and say, hey.
Because that's a different dynamic. Let's talk about it. You go home with your fiance, not even, with your girlfriend, and you say, I want to shatter. Where do we start?
Where do we start?
That is a conversation to be had.
Which uncles am I calling?
How are they officiating this? And are you the one who has to pay lobola because you're masked? There are so many dynamics.
Yeah.
There are so many dynamics.
Not personally, like, if on Chevy like an interest, I want you to know now, well, I'm never gonna take lobola out of my pocket. Never. If you wanna take it out, you can take it out. Me, I'm never gonna take it out. Anyway. But I do think it's really a hard one to navigate, because of course everyone must tiptoe. You know what I'm saying? Everyone must really tiptoe.
Because even finish.
No, because I mean, we're not sure what goes on.
Exactly. Even if your family or your immediate family is not homophobic, there are certain conversations that just don't happen. And therefore there are certain navigations that we don't know how to navigate. What
And even back to dating is, even with families that are accepting.
Yes.
It's still like, I'm still thinking, but would I really bring a girl home?
Would I really bring a girl home?
I mean, sure.
Would I
know
really
that I date girls, but would I really bring a girl home?
It's a nice to think about, but I don't know if I'd be able to.
I just feel like it would be a really awkward situation.
But I guess as queer bodies, we're always disrupting space.
Always.
And now is the time to disrupt our home spaces. But that's a different conversation, because disrupting your home space might disrupt your home space. You know what I'm saying? And your home space is your home space.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? You know, I experienced queerness so differently growing up that marriage is game on. Dating wasn't even in the frontal lobe of my mind, you know, because obviously of the space and whatever. And so now that I'm at this age, right, I've got my tools, I'm navigating dating, I'm really looking forward to what it has to offer.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing.
I don't want to lie to you. It's chef's kiss.
Despite all the ingxakis that it comes with all the dynamics that it comes with, I am still hopeful to the idea of love. And I think you should be too, right?
Always.
Because you can't give up on love.
And I'm never.
Exactly, you can't. There are people out there who will love you. And we need to give different people a chance. In this community, we've spoken about it, and I'm gonna wrap up after this. We've spoken about it, right? That different expressions shouldn't minimize the realms of people that you engage with.
Yeah.
We've said that mask and mask could be, femme and femme could be. And now that we're talking about dating, I think it's important to reiterate that. Because we grow up navigating in binaries. We grow up dating in binaries. And I think the one thing I would want people to take away from today, above from it needs to be a yes or it's a no, is that your soulmate could be in somebody you're overlooking because of your binary. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Talk to me. Cool, madam.
No, I just feel like.
You feel like what?
No, on the one side, I just feel like, you know, soulmates, right? I don't think soulmates are there. I feel like
did I say soulmates?
Yeah. I just feel like soulmates are made. You understand?
Exactly, because love is more than just
exactly. It's a choice. It's a
yes. Love is more than
cultivation.
Just a feeling.
Cultivation
Of many things.
Exactly.
And
the binaries one I completely understand. But me?
You?
I don't think something can start before attraction.
Of course. Of course. We've spoken about attraction. Go check out the previous video. Right? But I think for this video, we've unpacked a lot. We've put a lot on the table. And I think it's time for people to sort it out. People to engage, interrogate, introspect, reflect, defect, inspect, what other effects. And I think we're gonna leave it there today. This was a very important conversation. I mean, all our conversations are important, but this was important. We want to know, what do you want to know? Send us your questions.
You did say we're unpacking.
We are unpacking. We've got one more episode to go.
We do.
We're reaching an end, people. Tell us down below, how have you been finding Queer Talks? This is a pilot series. Depending on how it goes, we decide if we come back.
Next thing you know, we're on...
You know what I'm saying? On your TV screen.
Mnet.
The next thing you see us in cinema.
Exactly.
So, it's all up to you. Share this video, share the rest, watch the series as a whole. And until we see you in the next one, darling, what do I always say? Be a bad bitch! And...
don't suck dick.
Period! I love it! I love it. Do you suck dick?
I've never.
Me too. I've never sucked dick
I've never
as
even
well.
seen one in real life.
Same.
Really?
Yeah.
I am never physically, not like, what's the word?
Which is great. That's not great. Which... Talk.
When it comes to age.
Gabo! We are filming!